true crime. It is one of the most popular genres around the world. Makes your heart pound, turn pages, binge watch Netflix and Hulu. Do we have any true crime fans in the room today? Yes, I see you, I see you. My husband and I, Sergio and I, are licensed private detectives. And our family investigations firm, Vantius, one of the many things it's known for is helping to exonerate the wrongfully convicted. I'll take you back to February 11th, 2015, the day that we walked Christopher Abernathy out of prison after he served nearly 30 years for a crime he did not commit. It was a cold February day, and we picked his mom up, Anne, to go to the courthouse. And Anne was this little thing, shock of white hair, spunky personality, amazing. And we walked the steps into the courthouse, the same courthouse where 30 years earlier, she heard the gut-wrenching sentence that her son was going to be serving life without parole. But today was a better day. We sat in the courtroom. She squeezed my hand, leaned in, and said, "Is it really happening today? Is Chris really coming home?" He squeezed her hand, leaned back, and said, "Yes, he really is." The judge vacated his sentence, and we went straight to the courthouse. Now that his conviction had been vacated, we went to pick him up. Even the television crews started coming in. We walked inside. Chris came around the corner, and it was as if time stood still. He bent down and gave his mom the biggest, most beautiful hug ever. You see, Anne had recently been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and she did not have long to live. But she hung on to walk her son out of prison. And the first meal we were going to have had been something in the works for 10 years planning. Real meat, real fries. So we went from a maximum security prison straight to a 5-star hotel at the Four Seasons Chicago, which at the time had amazing made from scratch burgers, hot dogs, fries, the ketchup made with like balsamic and all of that jazz. The fries that when you would smell and breathe it in, you could get the salty savoriness, the sweetness, crunch through the crispy outside, the smooth inside. You know what I'm talking about. He had all of it. We enjoyed it all. And then he ordered one of each kind of chocolate dessert on the menu because why not? It'd been almost 30 years. And then with a sugar rush from God, we walked over to the bar area to watch the footage of all of us walking out together and toasting to his new chapter of life. Now, thanks to the magic, the neuroscience of storytelling, even though you weren't with us physically on this cold February day, all of you have just had a true detective experience. Because there's a magic to storytelling. It's not just about sitting around a campfire and feeling good. There is a neuroscience. Princeton researchers have shown that when they put people into imaging machines, the brain of the storyteller and the brain of the listener actually start to light up and come into alignment so you can have a shared experience. And when you use specific words, like describing smells, it lights up the part of the brain of the listener that processes smells, thanks to some research from Spanish folks. Who here craved French fries, if even for a little bit? Yes, right? Totally. It works. Now, in an era where we all have smartphones, almost 90% of Americans are plugged into these devices. We've increased the frequency of our connection. We're almost always available, but kind of decreased the authenticity and the deepness of those connections. Since the pandemic, the World Health Organization has shown that there's been a boost of people experiencing depression and anxiety. So even though we are more connected with our devices, people are feeling lonely, sad, and anxious. And this doesn't just impact our mental health. It impacts our physical health. About how troublesome to your physical health do you think it is? The equivalency of smoking how many cigarettes per day, according to the US Surgeon General? What do you think? We got a pack. Anyone else? 2 packs. Ding, 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 we have a winner. It's almost a pack. It's 15 cigarettes a day. And it also increases your risk by 50% of having dementia, of having other conditions like heart disease and stroke. This is serious stuff, right? So at this time, it's more important now than ever that we crack the case of human connection so that you can form genuine bonds with others, reach their hearts and their minds, and that is when we can change the world. So we're gonna take a deep dive into the case files of a private detective and an unconventional academic so that you can use these skills to change your lives. First, we need to boost our emotional IQ. When we're talking about emotional IQ, we're referring to our ability to regulate our own emotions, but also to have empathy, put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and try to understand where they're coming from, even if we don't agree with them, even if we don't necessarily like them. But that ability to connect, to see the humanity in others is magical. On cases, we have seconds to build trust with people whom we're interviewing before they either decide to welcome us in and talk or slam the door and move on. There was a case where we went to go speak with a woman in Michigan. And let's just say that this case was probably not the thing that she wanted to talk to at the end of a long day. But I also happen to be from Michigan. So when we got to her door, she opened it, was standing behind the screen door, and you know what I did? I pulled out the mitten. For those of you who are not familiar with the mitten, I see some laughs and smiles. This is the magical connection device between all of us from Michigan because our state is the shape of a hand. Yes, so what we do is we point to where we're from, instant bonding, talking about the things that unite us. She was smiling, welcomed us inside, and we had a beautiful conversation about human connection and the things we loved, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the case. You can use this in your daily lives. When you're trying to accomplish, say, your career goals, if you have a big interview or you're going up for a promotion, or you're trying to connect with someone in network, pay attention. Challenge yourself to find all the little details. What are people wearing? Do they have a tattoo? Do they have a cross? Do they have a photo of their kids or dogs in the background? These are all things that you can use to form connection. And these signs of similarities build trust. And when you have trust, you have the foundation to connect with anybody and to have those tough conversations, which are a natural part of life. But when we get through them together with that trust, that's where the magic happens. With rapport building, it will also transform how you see others. So I challenge you today to go look for, find things, give some stranger an authentic compliment. Yeah, not only are they gonna smile, but it is going to send good joy and vibes, and it's going to get you looking for these little clues that you can use for connection. Amazing. So we've got our emotional IQ that we're boosting here. Next up, we have to tap into powerful emotions. Emotions are the magic that make people take action. Science shows that when people are really happy or there is awe, joy, or people are really angry and frustrated, that is when they're about to take action. If people are at baseline, just content, cool, you take information in and out, but nothing really changes. So our challenge is to tap into that magic of emotion. Now, when you are tapping into these skills, you also need to know that with great power comes great responsibility. Serial killers are really good at building rapport and emotional connections. I am not advocating, for the record, that anybody or that serial killing is good. But there is a reason that people form connections and are able to get away with things and have rapport. So use this power for good. We need a lot more of it in the world. When it comes to sparking emotion, you also have a secret tool. That is body language. What % of body language do you think is non-verbal? Not words. What do you think? I hear 70. I think I hear a 90. Ding, 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 we have a winner. Experts estimate more than 90%. So it's almost more important how you are saying something than the actual words you are saying. I worked with a CEO who wanted to help increase his on-camera presence. And we started with a video he made for volunteer appreciation. Yay, right? We hit play, and I turned the volume off. And then we looked at him standing there, ostensibly talking about all the ways he was happy and appreciated all of these people for coming and volunteering. When we turned it off, he goes, oh my gosh, I look like I'm angry at these people. Not that I appreciate them. And yes, we have to sync up our emotions. You can be a professional, you can be authentic, and have emotions and form those bonds and connection. And that brings us in to the magic and the power of storytelling. Stories unite us, remember. They form those bonds. You can have those shared experiences. And the key ingredient to every great story is not silence, conflict. If Romeo and Juliet got married, their families loved each other, they ran off into the sunset, do you think we'd still be talking about that story today? Heck no. Conflict is the best thing that ever happened to you in your life story or in your career or anything else, because it gives people something to unite around. And when we're even talking about those emotions and that connection, I promise you the grieving mother over here in this part of the world has so much in common with the grieving mother over here in this part of the world, even if they don't speak the same words, the same language in that sense. It's the same language of the heart that is connecting them. And when we're talking about conflict and emotion, it can really help people lobby to help you accomplish your goals. So for example, I had a researcher I worked with who was trying to get funding for her projects. And she was trying to create a talk for donors. And she was talking about how, as part of the problem, people would experience death. And I said, whoa, wait a second. You mean people are dying? She said, yeah, but it makes me really uncomfortable to say that. People are dying. I said, you should feel uncomfortable. You're human. People dying is bad. And you know what? You should feel uncomfortable saying it. Your audience should feel uncomfortable hearing it so that people can rally around the cause and unite and move things forward. Make people the hero in their own story when you're telling it. Be the Yoda to their Luke Skywalker, the genie to their Aladdin, the fairy godmother to their princess. Insert whatever analogy you want here. But when you help people become the hero in their own story, they want to bring you along and also join your team. So if you're looking to, again, get that job, that big promotion, if you can find out and explain to your boss how that problem they have that they want to use to get their careers forward, you can help them do that. Guess what? You just formed a powerful ally. We've done some of these cool approaches to storytelling at the University of Chicago, where I co-built the science communications program and work at the Institute for Translational Medicine, fueled by the National Institutes of Health to improve people's health and get science breakthroughs made. Was first, let me introduce you to Scoozy, the coolest rescue pit bull of all time. She's our dog. And during the pandemic, noticed that when we went outside to go for walks, oh my gosh, everyone started coming out of the woodwork, right? We were all trapped inside. No one wanted to be inside anymore. So when everyone came out, Scoozy just got her model walk on to go down the street and have everyone see her and pet her and get her human loving on. Loved every second of it. And I thought, oh my gosh, what would happen if all of us got sick and we weren't here anymore? Scoozy'd be pretty darn sad. And with that, the narrative, the story of the dogs mobilizing to save their humans from diseases was born. Because it takes almost 10 years to get something from the lab into the real world. And one of the big slowdowns is that people are donating, which is fine, but they're donating to studies and then there aren't humans that know how to connect to actually participate in those studies. So there's a big slowdown. So we built a matchmaking platform where humans can sign up and connect with the studies and the health causes they care about the most. But this case right here, the dogs were mobilizing to save their humans and telling them to go sign up. They were like, wait a minute, I can't have a world without humans. They give epic belly rubs. They opened the peanut butter jars because we got no thumbs. And yes, everything was in doggo lingo, that recognized internet pet meme language. You go big or go home, right? So the dogs were telling their humans, real dogs, real humans, sharing the things that they loved about each other and the health causes they cared about the most. They were the heroes in their own story. And they went around finding their signs, their things downtown, were posting on social media, letting people know. It was magical. And you can use all of these skills in your lives as well. We have a choice. We can either accept the template of our life story that society shoves at us. We couldn't write the beginning. We didn't really have too much of a say there. Or we can look at a blank screen and at a blank page and know that we have the power to tap into human connection and this behavioral science, to write our own stories, change our own narratives and that of others. Anything is possible. The beautiful thing about stories is that you have heroes. Heroes have to come insurmountable odds, got to get creative to win, to have that success at the end, and we can too. The oldest person to climb Mount Everest was 80 years old. Not too shabby, right? Chris could have chosen, when he got out of prison, to be angry and bitter and to go after the people who hurt him. He didn't. He adopted dogs. He's going on road trips, enjoying life. And he even conquered his fear of flying to be here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Abernathy. Love you, brother. An amazing story. And all of you can do the same. So what are you gonna do? What is one person whom you need to connect with? Maybe you don't feel like it, but you know you need to. And now with these skills, now that you know how to crack the case of human connection, how are you gonna go use it to change the world? Go crack that case.